All right, so Bloom&Brine bath salts, right? Everyone's talking about them.
Yeah.
And their website, well, let's just say they're not shy with the descriptions, you know?
Lots of pristine this and
Yeah.
holistic that.
Exactly. Like, I'm already feeling more zen just reading their About Us. But I know you're thinking the same thing.
Gotta wonder if it's all just fancy words for, well,
A really expensive bath.
pretty much. So are these salts actually worth their weight in,
Himalayan salt crystals.
huh, there you go. But seriously, that's what we're here to find out.
Exactly. We got to separate the marketing hype from the actual science.
Right, and that's where it gets interesting because they're not just banking on the whole relaxation angle, which, let's be honest, is a big part of bath salts.
Sure, sure. Warm water, nice smells. Who doesn't love that?
Oh, exactly. But with Bloom and Brine, they're really pushing the science behind these specific salts they use, called iodine bromide salts. Now, before you think this is some groundbreaking discovery.
Right, like they dug up some ancient Roman bathhouse or something.
Not quite. But you're right, the history angle is strong with this one.
I mean, they do mention iodine.
Right.
And I know that's got, like, anti-inflammatory properties.
Yeah.
They do. They actually highlight that on their website. And yeah, iodine is well documented as an anti-inflammatory, so could it help with sore muscles? Maybe, potentially.
Okay, so the muscle recovery thing, maybe that's not so far-fetched.
Could be something there. The high blood pressure claim is a little trickier, though.
Yeah, because that feels like a whole different ballgame.
It is. I mean, stress is a huge factor in blood pressure. So in theory, if a bath with these salts helps you relax, maybe it could indirectly help with blood pressure.
Right, like the relaxation is what's helping, not necessarily some magical property of the salts themselves.
Exactly. And that's the thing. They're very careful to say that their products aren't meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. They put that right on their website.
Yeah, which is good. It's responsible, you know? They're not making any outlandish medical claims.
Exactly. And it's a distinction a lot of companies in this space, they try to blur that line.
No, totally. Like, they'll use very suggestive language, but they'll never actually come right out and say, this will cure your whatever.
Exactly, because they can't. And to be fair to Bloom and Brine, they're not doing that. They're highlighting the traditional use of these salts, but they're also being careful not to overpromise.
Yeah, they're walking that line pretty carefully.
And that can be confusing for consumers. You know, you see this product, it's got this whole natural vibe, and you want to believe that it's going to be the answer to all your problems.
Especially when they're selling you on this whole experience. I'm looking at their website right now, and it's all these serene baths, candles, flower petals. It's very,
It's Instagrammable.
exactly, like, treat yourself.
And that's marketing 101, right? Sometimes a feeling, an image, it can be just as persuasive as any scientific claim.
Absolutely. And like you said earlier, people are looking for these natural solutions, this connection to something, you know, ancient and pure. But we got to remember what we're here for. We're trying to figure out if Bloom and Brine bath salts actually live up to the hype.
Right. Does the science hold water?
Okay, so just for our listener, let's recap where we are so far. We've got this cool backstory about these salts, right? Ancient seabed, Slovakia, very exotic.
They're upfront about the minerals in the salts.
They're steering clear of any direct medical claims, which is a good sign.
And they're tapping into a larger trend, too. I mean, more and more people are looking for natural wellness options.
For sure. It's like a whole movement, right? People are moving away from just pharmaceuticals and looking for more holistic approaches.
Absolutely. But on the flip side, we've also got to acknowledge that Bloom and Brine, they're really leaning into the marketing, you know? All those buzzwords, the testimonials, the subscription model.
Which, let's be real, that's just a way to get you to spend more money.
Right. It's a business, after all.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag, right?
It is. There's definitely potential for these bath salts to be a relaxing, enjoyable part of a self-care routine.
Yeah.
But we need to be real about what they can and can't do.
No miracle cures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing.
Always. And if you have specific health concerns, your doctor is always the best resource. Don't mess around with that.
Absolutely. Great advice. Now, one thing we haven't really dug into yet is this whole idea of mineral absorption through the skin. We touched on it earlier, but I think it's worth exploring a bit more.
Oh, for sure. Because it's not something people always think about.
I mean, I get the concept, but how does it actually work? We're soaking in a tub. Does our skin just magically suck up all those minerals?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
And it's something a lot of people wonder about.
So, like, we're picturing ourselves, we're in the tub, got the candles going, feeling relaxed. But is our skin actually, like, absorbing anything from the water?
Well, Think about it this way. Our skin is our largest organ, right?
That's true. I never thought about it like that.
And it's surprisingly permeable. It's not like a solid wall.
Okay, so it's got some, holes in it or something?
Not exactly holes, more like tiny gaps between our skin cells. Think of it like a finely woven mesh.
Okay, I'm picturing that.
And those gaps, they allow certain substances to pass through.
So when we're talking about minerals, like in these bath salts, are you saying those minerals can get into our bodies through those little gaps?
Exactly. Now, it's not as simple as, just pouring a bucket of minerals over your head and expecting miracles. The size of the molecule matters. The temperature of the water can play a role. Even how hydrated your skin is can make a difference. But the basic principle is sound. Our skin can absorb certain minerals from the water we bathe in.
That's pretty wild. So when Bloom&Brine is listing all those minerals in their salts, there's a chance that some of those are actually getting into our system.
That's the idea they're going with. Now, how much gets absorbed and what the specific effects of those minerals are once they're in our system, well, that's where more research is needed. It's not an exact science yet,
Right.
but it's definitely an intriguing possibility, right?
Totally. Like, it makes you wonder what else is going on in there that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's bring it all back around. We've got Bloom&Brine. They've got this really cool backstory with their ancient salt source. They're being pretty upfront about the minerals in their products, at least. And they're not making any crazy medical claims, which is always a plus. So for our listeners who are out there thinking about trying these bath salts, what's the final verdict? Worth it or not?
Honestly, I'd say if you're curious and you enjoy a nice, relaxing bath, why not give it a shot? Maybe start with a small pack, see how you feel. Pay attention to your body. Do you feel any different after a Bloom&Brine bath versus your regular routine? More relaxed, less soreness, things like that. But, and I think this goes without saying, but it's not a magic cure-all.
Right. It's not going to solve all your problems.
Exactly. And it's definitely not a replacement for any advice from your doctor.
Always good advice. So be curious, be a little skeptical, but don't expect miracles.
Exactly. And even if it turns out to be mostly a placebo effect, the power of that shouldn't be discounted. If a relaxing bath with these salts makes you feel better, hey, that's a win in my book.
Totally. Sometimes we just need to take a minute for ourselves, right? Well, self-care goes a long way.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into Bloom&Brine bath salts. We went from pristine marketing to ancient seabeds to the science of skin. Hopefully you, our listener, are feeling informed and maybe even a little bit more zen.
It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Until next time, everyone, happy soaking.